How many times have you ever heard people, not only, maybe they didn't say it to you, but maybe you could see in their eyes their disapproval of you, their judgment of you, their condemnation of you. Look, I know you know how to handle that, but I'm going to help you get out of that. All right? I'll be right back.
You can do it. Don't stop. Ed Montgomery. Come on. A new way of thinking. Transform your mind. Straight from the vine. Fresh new wine.
It's the fact that you are able to give during this time, and you got us through COVID. You got us through all those moments, and I am grateful that you're getting us through this time right now. 713-742-2035, or go to myalc.org. That's myalc.org. myalc.org. This is where I get a chance to see what you do, and to be grateful, and to write you and keep you on my prayer list and all those kind of wonderful things. So thank you for what you do. Look, here are these two things I want to get to. Number one, we said this last week, and I'm throwing it back out just so you get a flow. Know yourself. Know your authentic self. You carry the divinity. You carry divinity. You carry a divineness. You carry the spark of God inside of you. From the day you came out of the womb and took your first breath, we breathed in. God breathed into mankind the breath of life, and mankind became. In other words, when you took that first intake of breath, it's like you began the process of becoming a living soul. The divineness spark of God lives inside of you. Which is why, after you have been taken from another land, from another country, those of you of color, and some of you who may be very, very light, you may even think, well, I'm white. Whiteness is not the color of your skin. White is a concept, mindset. Whiteness is what was used to separate all of us by people who are trying to keep their money flowing in their pockets. They needed to keep people who were white, whether they were poor, from people who were of other origins, so that they would not come together and become one people. Because if they come, when unity comes, power comes. When you connect, when unity comes, power comes. Whatever you unify with begins the process of power. Your marriage becomes powerful when you unify. Your relationships become powerful when you unify. Your family becomes powerful when you come together and say, listen, we're not going to fight and argue like this. We're going to be on one accord with one another. You may not have to agree with everything, but we're going to be on one accord. This is where power comes from, when you unify. There are people who can unify under bad things, and they become the people in power. But then there are those, if they could unify under some good stuff that will bless people, they could be in power. But then there are people who can't unify under anything because they don't know what to unify under. That's called lostness. So what do people want? If they want to stay in power, what do they need to do? They need to erase anything that teaches divinity, or the divineness of who people are. Wow. In other words, the darkest night of anything is ignorance. So why go after Harvard? Most people don't realize Harvard's been in existence since the 1600s. From the day they got off that rickety boat called the Mayflower, they started Harvard. That's when Harvard was started, when they hit America. Now, I'm not being an advocate of Harvard. I mean, we could say a whole lot of things, but the bottom line is this. If they will do that to that institution, there's other institutions they will do the same thing. The government will do the same thing too. And I'm not even saying the government. I'm just talking about the people with bad ideas. The people who say my ideas are better than yours. My design for this country is better than what you would have for this country. I'm not trying to make a design for this country. I just want to work with everybody. I just want to work with people. We all just want to work together and see what happens. We may not agree. I may not agree with you. You may not agree with me. We may clash. But out of the clash will come something good. If our hearts come into play here. We may fight like cats and dogs, but then out of that fight will come something that says, you know what, but at least this is a good idea over here. Can we agree on that? Okay, well, let's do that right now, and then we'll come back to this later. And over time, we're able to hammer things out that will be good for our country and good for our lives. But not if you're closing your hand and saying, if you don't believe the way I believe, no. You know, it is time to begin to feel and know that it is all right to start pulling yourself away. And you ain't got to agree with what people say just because they say, we've been the religious people all along, so therefore do what we say. I'm a Christian. Are you a Christian like me? And people, well, I may not be a Christian. Are you a Christian like me? Because if you're not a Christian like me, then you are not a Christian. Remember they said it, President Barack Obama. But here's the deal. Very easy. No, I am not a Christian like you. And you know what? I don't feel nothing's wrong with my soul because I don't believe like you. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and his teachings. In other words, my views change because I'm learning every day. I read, I learn, I study. I open my mind. I don't close myself off. And because of that, I'm not going to allow you to use your religion to do that second thing that you should never let them do. And that is judge you. And tell you who you are, how bad you are, how down you are. You can't be this because of, I'm not even, forget the color of skin, because anybody that would deal with something because of the color of skin, the skin is just a badge of something. Forget all of that. To dislike somebody because they're not like you means you have not had the opportunity to open up your mind to understand who that person is or who someone else is. So begin to say to people, no, I'm not taking that judgment from you. As a matter of fact, you don't have to say anything to them. Learn to walk away from them and leave them alone. I firmly believe if you got somebody speaking and they're throwing out speaking and giving speeches with all that trash coming out of that microphone, I believe the problem is the people who clap for that person that's spewing all that trash. Maybe if the people in the audience got up and walked out the door and left that person giving that speech by themselves, maybe, just maybe, that person might shut up and think about, nobody's listening to me, so why do I keep talking like this? So, but it tells us that spirit is all throughout, places in our country. But you know what? It ain't that many people. Number one, the spark of God is in you. There's a divinity within you. You are a drop from the ocean. God is that ocean. You are a drop from the ocean. That drop is in you. And one day that drop will go back to the ocean. And secondly, they can't judge you because only God can judge who you are. Therefore, don't let them tell you who you are. Hold on to your own identity. Don't let religion teach that somebody who is a bishop or archbishop or this or that can tell you who you are. No. And there's more to this. Maybe we need to re-examine. Hello, my friends. I am Ed Montgomery, and thank you so much for everything that you have done throughout the year of 2024. 2024 is like the number of 8, the number of new beginnings. We're now in 2025. And although I don't allow my life to be guided by numbers, numbers can play an important part if we think about it. And there is a number, 365, that has always been important in my life. 3 added to the number of 6 equals the number of 9. 5, number of 3 equals 8. When you start playing around with these numbers, it can mean new beginnings. It can mean foundations. It can mean storehouses. It can mean a lot of things. You can always look it up. But there's one word that I thought about concerning this season we are in right now at the first part of the year. I was out walking and decided just to get out there and get some sun. It was kind of cold out there, so I decided to put a sweater on. My wife, who has recently, well, not recently, but passed away several years ago, had bought a present for me, and I didn't know I still had it. I never wore it. And so I put it on. Eyesight-wise, I couldn't really see the color of it. I thought it was like a cream white, and so I just put it on with a pair of jeans. Got out, I started getting people giving me compliments. Had a young lady say, "Oh, nice sweater." And I said, "Oh, that's cool. Guy at my age. Hey, nice sweater." Another girl turns around and says, "Hey, you look good." And I said, "Oh, wow." And then I got to the counter and got ready to check out. Young lady says, "You seem like a guy that knows who he is. I really like a guy like that. Nice sweater." And I said, "Ma'am, why are you saying this is a nice sweater?" "Oh, it's because of the color." I said, "Man, what color do you see?" And the lady kind of chuckled. She said, "It's hot pink." And I kind of wanted to, and I thought about hot pink. And the lady says, "That's bold." I left out of that place thinking about that word. And so I was getting ready to put my coat on, but I said I'd leave my jacket off. And I'm going to wear my hot pink sweater. Listen, it may not be a hot pink sweater for you, but it might be some other things about your life, who you are, how you talk, how people have made you to keep quiet because maybe you talk too loud, or because maybe they don't like your jokes, or maybe they don't like your hair and the way you do your hair and what you do about the way you dress. Maybe people are always condemning you because you stand out in the crowd. But I'm here to tell you, 2025, the word is bold. That's what 365 is. It's about giving an amount that's bold, that says, you know what? I'm going to do something I've never done before. Now, I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to just people that know what I've been dealing with and talking about over the years. 365 is like giving $1 a day for an entire year, but doing it all at one time. Those of you that have ever done this with me, I'm asking you that you will engage with me. I don't care where you are, where you attend church, or whether you go or whether you don't go. you know what 365 is about. I'm asking you to engage with me. For those that are not sure what they understand, maybe it might be you can't do that. But you can do 365, 36.50. That's $36.50. I've had some of my younger people might even do $3.65. But do something and say, this is declaring my boldness for the year 2025. Give whatever is in your mind, whatever is on your heart. You can use so many different ways to do it. But there's if you're looking at this by email, click that donate button down at the bottom of the email. And it will take you to the screen where you'll be able to give it. Or you can do it online on text to give. That's 713-742-2035. Or you can write a check. People still do that. And slip it in an envelope. Put a stamp on it, because we got to put a stamp on this. And you can send it to Abundant Life Center. Or you can send it to Ed Montgomery. It does not go into my personal pocket. It goes into ministry, 501c3, and we give you a statement. You get a statement, and you get your income tax and all that kind of stuff. It opens all that up for you automatically. And you can send it P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas, 77215. That's 365. You can give that, or you can give more. $36.50, $3.65. But whatever you do, be bold. Get on out there and do it. And then when you give it, throw your head up. You got a warm heart, throw your shoulders back, and do your thing. Talk your talk. Be who you are, and say, I ain't thinking about other folk. Because guess what? Fortune favors the bold. Your ship is about to come to the dock and is loaded. Thank you so much for your generosity and for being so kind to us. God bless you. Look forward to hearing from you. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button. Smash it, crash it. Let us know you're there.